Once again, we're going to spend a lot of time talking about the impacts of the winter storm that we're now in hurry up and wait mode. It's only a matter of time before we begin to see the leading edge of the wintry precipitation, which is developing now across Texas, move into Arkansas. Promises to be a very active weekend. And I would say this, if there's really one good thing about this winter storm, it's the timing. Folks are going to be getting off the roads. It's Friday afternoon. They can hunker down in their homes and enjoy some coffee, hot chocolate, some good foods, and watch the sleet and snowfall. And we're still expecting quite a bit of it. Not many wholesale changes, a few tweaks here and there, but that is expected. We haven't really changed our accumulation maps much. We could start to see more snow in the onset of this than sleet for central Arkansas before transitioning to sleet. Freezing rain appears likely in southeast Arkansas, and even a couple of more counties have been added to an ice storm warning where they are expecting major amounts of freezing rain. So let's get to it. I've got radar. This is our 1 hour loop. We're looking at northeast Texas and southern Arkansas. Notice green. I see a lot of green, which means with readings still well above 32 degrees, we've got rain falling, but soon the atmosphere will begin to cool and sleet will develop and even some snow. And if you look closely near McAllister, there's a little bit of pink beginning to show up that would indicate it's cold enough for frozen precipitation, whether it be sleet or freezing rain. So I hope you're geared up and ready to go. Let's get off the roadways here, and I'll give you the latest timing. Now, we have had a couple of minor adjustments with the timing of this system, when it's going to arrive here in central Arkansas and also other parts of the state. So this is the current radar loop, and it does show that moisture is beginning to build in from northeast Texas. All rain here as it moves into Arkansas. Our air mass is a little colder, although we've had some sunshine today that's allowed temperatures to jump into the upper 30s and low 40s. But as soon as precipitation begins to fall, we're going to have this evaporative cooling effect, and readings will begin to drop from upstairs down below. Still keeping an eye on where the warm nose of moisture establishes, that warm layer over the weekend, and that will determine who gets what, how much, and how heavy. And as it turns out right now, it still looks like the battle zone is going to be through central Arkansas. We could pick up a little more sleet or maybe a little bit more snow. I'm pulling for more snow. Nobody wants to drive in sleet, and especially freezing rain. And oh, by the way, speaking of that, we still have an opportunity to pick up a little bit of a glaze of freezing rain in central Arkansas, but the best likelihood is down in the southeastern part of the state. So from there we go, and you're going to see a lot of the same maps and graphics that we used yesterday. There's not really anything major to report that has changed. Okay, we're just in hurry up and wait mode as we track this winter storm. Once again, major winter storm arrives this evening as early as 3 or 4 o'clock for southwest Arkansas. We're still expecting significant snow, sleet, and freezing rain accumulations. And again, we'll talk about how much in just a moment, along with the coldest air of the season. I think the cold could be more dangerous than the actual precipitation, because we're going to hit the deep freeze, and we're not going to get out of the deep freeze for quite some time. So with that in mind, let's cover the weather impact alert. This is going to go through Monday. High impact winter storm. And wait till you see the real estate. We talked about yesterday just the number of states that would be impacted with the winter storm watch. And now a lot of states have winter storm warnings and ice storm warnings and are going to be impacted by wintry weather. Back to the graphics we go. So from today through Monday, the weather impact alert is in store, or it's in effect. Of course, hazardous travel, lots of frozen precipitation, and of course the bitter cold temperatures. Let's talk about just the wide expanse that this is going to cover. Winter storm warnings were issued yesterday for New Mexico, Oklahoma, Texas, and Arkansas, and now the Ohio Valley, the Atlantic Seaboard, the Northeast, all under some type of winter weather warning, be it winter storm warning or an ice storm warning. And notice a couple of counties in southern Arkansas have been added to this ice storm warning, and something they don't see a whole lot. Louisiana has now been issued ice storm warnings because temperatures at the surface will be below freezing, although aloft temperature readings may be in the mid-40s. So that's that warm layer, that warm nose we're talking about. How far north does it get? Does it stop? And if it does not make it to central Arkansas, that could mean a difference in more snow and less sleet, or more sleet than less snow if it can kind of climb and rise through the central part of the state. So there's a lot to take in there, and we're going to take it day by day, hour by hour. day part by day part, just to keep you up to date and informed. So here are the winter weather alerts that we have. The pink counties indicate winter storm warning. You've got the ice storm warning, and Columbia and Union counties have now been added into that ice storm warning to go along with Ashley and Chico. Something different, we've seen more counties in Mississippi, Louisiana, and over in East Texas that have been included in an ice storm warning for amounts of ice accrual that could be over a half an inch to 3/4 or more. Crippling ice storm, power outages, snapping tree limbs, power lines. Power outages are going to be a big deal here in Southeast and also Southeast Arkansas, northern Louisiana, Mississippi. Freezing rain could also occur in parts of Southeast Arkansas to go on top of or go with the sleet that we're expecting. And again, you'll see the accumulation maps once again in just a few minutes here, and I'll share them with you. And this is not the final day that we'll tweak. We'll continue to tweak them as we get more information and more information comes in. High-res forecast models are what we're using primarily now. And we've got the NAM, we've got the graph, we've got the HER, and they may all say something just a little bit different. We'll stick with the graph because it's not as overly aggressive as the HER in bringing precipitation in and overspreading as quickly. We have done a little bit of tweaking with the winter weather startup time. 5 to 8 p.m. now, southwest Arkansas, northwest Arkansas, 8 to 11, and that also includes central Arkansas too, Conway, Little Rock, Hot Springs, Stuttgart, so anytime between 8 and 11 o'clock. It'll begin light and then it will pick up overnight, heavy precipitation overnight into tomorrow. And this is wave one. There'll be 2 waves. Northeast Arkansas, midnight to 2 o'clock in the morning from Mountain Home, Newport, Wynne, Memphis, Jonesboro. So on the early end, 12 o'clock or midnight tonight, on the late end, 2 o'clock in the morning. Just depends on how quickly this develops. And it could start off as a little bit of rain. You know, our temperature profile in Little Rock right now, we're looking at above ground readings in the 40s. They'll drop off. The wind is up outside. It's a biting wind. It's a very cold wind. So if you have plans on being out and about, make sure you layer up and head out the door. Let's talk about our forecast models. Again, the graph model, just using it as a projection. It may not wind up like this entirely, but it's got a pretty good handle. The HER does as well, but they differ in overall timing and placement of where the snow line is and where the sleet line is going to be located. So I don't take this, in terms of this is the way it's going to happen. Just know that there'll be some changes with it. But you'll be at home, you'll be watching it fall, and that's what you need to be doing. And there'll still be a lot of folks out working, and they need to be careful as they head out the door. This is 8 o'clock tonight. So on the front edge, you've got this precipitation, dry air, by the way. You may be picking up precipitation falling, but it's evaporating. So it's going to take a little while for the atmosphere to saturate. But the leading edge of wintry precipitation could be in central Arkansas by 8 o'clock in spotty form near Saline County, or even in southeast Arkansas near Monticello. Our temperatures are expected to be in the mid-20s and continue to drop off throughout the night. So 34 Texarkana, 35 El Dorado, 34 Camden. That is just a cold rain, okay? But more cold air will spill in tonight, and it will become freezing rain or even a little bit of sleet. So that's 8 o'clock. Let's take you a little further on down the road. This is by news time tonight, 10 o'clock. Could begin to see some sleet and snow in the Little Rock metro area. Snow begins to move into northwest Arkansas. And oh, by the way, the northwestern part of the state still slated to pick up the most out of this winter weather system. Moving a little farther along, this is by midnight tonight, early tomorrow morning. And here's what I'm talking about with that sleet snow line. It may begin as snow or at least transition to snow for a while in central Arkansas and stay that way until tomorrow morning, where that warm nose or warm layer begins to take over. And then we begin to see more sleet develop and push into central and northeast Arkansas. This is the end of round one, Saturday, 5 o'clock. It's not over. Don't let your guard down. More's going to be coming up. The sun's going to be setting, and look at those temperatures. What falls between now and tomorrow, readings will be in the teens and 20s. Certainly cold enough. It's not going to go anywhere. Now let's look at round number 2. And there are some challenges with this forecast tomorrow. Let me back it up just a little bit. That's 5 o'clock in the morning. So overnight, we'll begin to see the next wave develop. But something else that's to point out, thunderstorms may develop in Louisiana and Mississippi, southern Mississippi. And if they do develop, that may take away some of the moisture that is being slung into Arkansas. And if that's the case, that cuts down on amounts as well. That's something we're keeping an eye on. It could happen. Not saying that it will. I'm okay if it does because it would cut down on all the amounts. But this is later on Saturday night. We'll take you through Sunday morning. And some cold air begins to get pulled in on the backside of the main upper level system. So there could be a brief moment or two tomorrow, or Sunday, excuse me, where we see snowfall once again. And then that's it. The system wraps up, moves out. Sunday afternoon, just a few snow flurries or snow showers. The temperature is brutally cold. Wind chill values are going to be up as well. So that's what the latest graph looks like. The HRRR is a little more aggressive. So we'll stick with the graph for now, although the HRRR may win out too. I mean, there's just so many different ways this could go. Now let's talk about what you can expect. And this really hasn't changed a whole lot. I talked to Nathan Scott a few minutes ago, and he's waiting to determine whether or not he wants to update this. We may push the snow line down a little farther to the south because it does look like more like Logan County and Yell, Conway, Northern Faulkner, Cleburne, maybe mainly snow with his first round. So we'll keep an eye on that, but you're basically looking at an ice storm over the southeast. You've got freezing rain from Columbia County, Union, Ashley, Chico, possibly Deshay and Bradley counties. So a pretty significant ice storm there. In central Arkansas, it'll be snow mixed with sleet. Precipitation will come down heavy at times, and it will pile up quickly. One thing to note that when we were talking about accumulation totals, we were throwing snow and sleet in there together. So with snow and sleet, we could see 4 to 6 inches or maybe more in central Arkansas. Combine those. We've got it broken down from snow, sleet, and freezing rain, of which you will see here in just a moment. Okay, now the snowfall forecast, and this is what I'm saying. This has been adjusted just a little because it appears as if we may see a little bit more snow in the onset of this winter storm. So a trace to 1 inch in the white area from Texarkana, Arkadelphia to Stuttgart. Upwards of an inch of snow are possible before things transition to more sleet, maybe even a little freezing rain. Here's the change for you. A trace upwards of 4 inches of snow, and that is through the heart of central Arkansas, places like Brinkley, Little Rock, Hot Springs, Lone Oak, Cabot, Benton, Bryant. Trace amounts of snow upwards to about 4 inches. So let's say 4 inch, maximum of 4 inches is the ceiling there, right? Could be a little bit more or less. Picking that area out is very hard to define. 3 to 6 inches just to the north of that. It's right there, right below the purple area. So 3 to 6 inches of snow. Perryville, Mayflower, Conway, Beebe, Bald Knob, Woodruff County, Augusta. You're going to be on that line. So there's a fine line there, 3 to 6 and then 4 to 8. So 3 to 8 inches of snow in that zone, maybe even a little more. And then you've got your big snowfall amounts. General snowfall amounts could be in the 6 to 12 category over the northern two Rosa counties. It just depends on whether or not that warm layer gets into northern Arkansas. If it doesn't, it's going to be more snow and big snow amounts. If it does, it may cut back a little bit. But there will be the jackpot zone, and that's the highest elevations of northwest and north central Arkansas. 10 to 15 inches of snow should be fairly common, maybe even more than that. 6 to 12 in northeast Arkansas. You know, you're basically throwing spaghetti at the wall here, hoping it sticks. But from the forecast model information that we've seen, this gives us our best guess. And we haven't changed this much since yesterday when we unveiled it. Just up those amounts just a little bit based on what model guidance is saying today. It was saying something different yesterday. And here's something for you. It's going to say something different tomorrow and even during the day on Sunday. But we know this. It's a significant winter storm. All modes of severe winter weather are expected. I say severe winter. It's more inclement winter weather, freezing rain, sleet, and snow. So that's the snowfall forecast, just snow, okay? Now, as I drop my glasses, let's talk about sleet. This zone has expanded a bit. 2 to 4 inches of sleet, and there could be an area that picks up 5 or 6 inches of sleet. And that's still slated for the Ouachita's in western Arkansas. So this bright orange banding here, Searcy, Conway, down to DeQueen, Pine Bluff, Stuttgart, West Memphis, you're in that 2 to 4 inches of sleet zone. Depending on what happens tomorrow, it could be a little more, could be a little less. On either side, you begin to drop off. Lesser amounts of sleet to the north and to the south, because to the south it is expected to be more in the form of some freezing rain. And speaking of which, The ice forecast, yuck. We could still see 1/10 of an inch, or generally what's called a glaze, in that light pink shaded area that does include Little Rock, Stuttgart, Hot Springs, DeQueen, Arkadelphia. So that's that sandwich, a Dagwood sandwich of wintry precipitation. That's a little bit of freezing rain and then sleet and then snow. So there's going to be quite a bit of it. 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch of freezing rain near Pine Bluff, Camden, Monticello, and then 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch or more in those 4 or 5 counties of southeast Arkansas, which goes along the lines with the ice storm warning. Could be more, and if it's more, it'll be a crippling ice storm for those folks. We certainly don't want to see that. So you might be wanting to know the difference between the two. We get these questions all the time, and the best way to determine the difference between the sleet and the freezing rain is that sleet bounces. It's a little ice pellet. It's going to bounce all over the place. The good thing about sleet is it bounces off of power lines and bounces off of trees. It doesn't stick to it unless you have a mixture of freezing rain and sleet falling together, and then you're going to get, it's going to pile up. Freezing rain is just rain that hits a surface that is sub-freezing and it sticks. It stays there. Bridges, overpasses, your car's windshields, anything elevated that air can get up underneath, that's going to freeze first. So freezing rain, the difference between freezing rain and sleet. There you go. Okay. And with that in mind, what does it take? We tried to talk about a little bit about this yesterday. 6:30, Nathan and I were along, and we'll be along again tonight at 6:30. If you're just joining us on THV 11 Plus and you haven't seen this graphic before, it kind of gives you a cross section of what's happening in the atmosphere. And when we talk about a warm layer, this red triangle is the warm layer. It's a little thinner here where you've got more snow and sleet, and it thickens up, or there's more warm air or a deeper layer that would include freezing rain and just plain old rain. So with the sleet expectations, the warm nose aloft or the warm layer aloft is thin. Above that warm layer, it's cold enough for snow, and above and below it, it's cold enough for a refreeze to sleet. With freezing rain, it melts and it doesn't have a chance to refreeze because the layer of cold air at the surface is not cold, it's not thick enough, there's not enough room there from where the raindrop drops from the cloud to the ground for it to become a sleet pellet. It just stays as a raindrop, but it freezes. Snow, everything's below 32 degrees. And that's clear as mud, right? It's just a lot going on with it. That's what we expect here in Arkansas. Now, the cold part of this, we've got the timing of the storm. We've talked about accumulations, and now the cold part. 85 to 100 hours of sub-freezing temperatures are certainly expected. Right now, we're above freezing, but at some point tonight, we'll drop below, and we won't see freezing until Tuesday sometime. So with that precipitation falling, it's not going anywhere. It's going to begin to pile up and cause issues. Hats off to the RDOT folks. They've been out treating roadways, and they've even treated roadways around neighborhoods to kind of give you a hand. But there comes a point in time where even what they throw out there doesn't work because our temperatures at ground level are 10, 12, 15 degrees. So hopefully this will help folks get around a little. Remember to protect your pets, bring them inside, make sure folks have adequate warmth, and of course, stream those faucets. Beginning tonight, stream them and keep them going. A light stream on all of them. Otherwise, it could happen with what happened to me one year. And I've been preaching this about streaming faucets, and what happens? I drip my faucets, and I still had a pipe burst. So that's why the plumber that I came out said, dripping's not going to do you any good. You want to keep a steady stream going. I do what the plumber says. That bill was expensive enough as it is. I don't need any more like that. Dangerous cold. We've got a cold warning, extreme cold warning for the counties in that aqua color, an extreme cold watch in the blue. It doesn't matter. We're all going to be cold, and it's going to feel cold outside. Wind chill values -5 to -15 for the stretch tomorrow all the way through early next week. Here we go. Highs forecast for Saturday, only in the teens. We're not going to go up. We're only going to pretty much stay put in the teens. As we look at Sunday, we could go up a couple of degrees if we do see the system clear out of here. A little sunshine will help. And then Monday, we'll look for readings to get a little bit warmer, but notice we're still below freezing. A little sunshine would go a long way in melting this mess off. Tuesday, there's our day right there. All locations expected to get above freezing for the first time since Friday night, early Saturday. Our low temperatures are going to be in the single digits and teens. And Monday morning when you wake up, we could quite possibly see several locations below zero in northern Arkansas. In central Arkansas, single digits. Tuesday will be in the single digits and low teens. And then Tuesday morning, I should say, we'll see those numbers, single digits and low teens. Wednesday, we'll get a little bit milder. Our wind chill forecast is very dangerous cold with below zero numbers there all the way through really Tuesday. Then Wednesday, they'll come up, but it's still going to be cold. And our temperature profiles, our temperatures overall, are going to stay below average even all the way through the week next week. A couple of more graphics to share with you, something new. What about the forecasts for different communities here in central Arkansas and what we're expecting to fall there? Well, this is a great range to show you what Little Rock and Conway and what Clinton are expecting. Little Rock, the further north you go to Conway, it may be more snow and even more snow in Clinton. But you can take this graphic full if you want, Mike. For those of you that live here in Little Rock, Conway, maybe you're joining us up in Clinton, we're expecting 1 to 4 inches of snow in Little Rock. 3 to 6 inches of snow in Conway. Clinton, 8 to 12, or maybe even a little bit more. The sleet accumulation, 2 to 4. 1 to 3 Conway, a trace to a half an inch. So as you go into northern Arkansas, the more snow you get, the less sleet you're expecting. We could get a glaze of freezing rain in Little Rock and Conway, not expecting any freezing rain in Clinton. So overall, 8 to 12 inches of snow, maybe 8 to 13 in accumulation totals between sleet and snow. In Little Rock, we could see as much as 8 total, 3 to 8. Conway, 4 to 10 or 4 to 9 inches. That's how this is stacking up. And again, it all depends on where that warm layer sets up. Here's your bottom line for those of you that are wanting to know just kind of a summary of this winter weather event, this winter storm warning. Friday night, snow and sleet begin to develop. Our temperatures will drop into the middle teens, bitterly cold readings. Saturday, sleet, freezing rain at times. For the Little Rock metro area, by the way, there might be a snowflake or two, and then it becomes sleet. Saturday night, sleet and freezing rain, dangerous cold, 16. Sunday, on the backside, snow, and it will come to an end, and we'll see a high Sunday of about 22 degrees. And let me share this with you, the rest of our 7-day forecast with the weather impact alert that's going to go all the way through Monday. Nathan's working on a forecast for us right now, but as you can see, our temperatures are going to stay really cold. They're expected to stay in the 30s all the way through next week. In fact, another shot of cold air could come in next week with temperatures only making it into the middle 30s. That's not really warm enough to melt off all of it. With more sunshine, though, the sun will help to thaw the roads out even further. So there we are. That is our forecast for you. Before we head out for the afternoon, I do want to talk about our new feature, something that you at home can have. If you've got THV 11 Plus, you have access to our 24/7 live radar. It's on Plus. So let's say you wake up in the middle of the night, you want to see what's going on. Is it precipitating at your house? Sure thing. Look at radar and you will be able to tell what's going on. That's 24/7 live radar. We've got a little QR code. Mike's going to pull it up for me now on our Max. And there you go. Take your phone and click on that, and that'll tell you how you can get it. That'll take you to the place you need to be 24/7. It's live radar 24/7, a part of THV 11 Plus, and that'll help you track the system with us, and it will show you where precipitation is. And I've got live radar, plus we have a 1-hour radar loop that go back and forth on that. And speaking of radar, I do want to look at radar one more time and update you on that. Yeah, we're beginning to see precipitation get closer to southwest Arkansas. I can see some of those mosaics, winter mosaic colors. I can tell it's cold enough for snow here in eastern Oklahoma. Mixed bag over in close to McAllister, southeast Oklahoma, but rain in northeast Texas, Dallas, Texarkana. The air mass is really warm here, at least it's too warm to support anything wintry and mixed at this time, but that is all going to change. The timing of this system is, once again, going to change a little bit, just tweaked it just a little. 5 to 8 p.m. over the southwestern part of the state. It'll be moving into central Arkansas shortly thereafter. That's coming up. It's coming, I promise. Timing, there it is. 5 to 8 p.m., 8 to 11 for this swath from Fayetteville, Marshall down to Pine Bluff and Little Rock, and then midnight to 2 a.m. Onset in northeast Arkansas. So that covers The timing of the precipitation, we've covered the accumulation possibilities, all of this, and we still have some minor details to work out. And as long as the forecast, the high-res models continue to kick out a little more snow for central Arkansas, then we may up those amounts. But it still looks like it's going to be sleet here for the central third of the state, and it could be quite a bit of it mixing with snow, and that's going to just cause all kinds of travel difficulties. Here it is, 2:55. Thank you. Let me tell you what's coming up here this afternoon. Of course, we have our 4 o'clock program on THV 11 Plus. Roley Hoyt's going to join us. It'll be Brooke, Roley, and myself, and we'll continue to track this winter storm. Coming up at 6:30 tonight on THV 11 Plus and our main channel, Nathan Scott and I will break down the latest information for you on this winter storm and give you the timing, how far away is the precipitation from me. We'll do that. We'll go over accumulation amounts as well. We'll take a little break at 7 o'clock, come back at 8:30, and the reason we're doing that is, number one, so I can get some nourishment. I do like to eat. I do like to have dinner, and we should have precipitation closing in on Central. That's not really the reason. It's because precipitation will be closing in. They don't care if I eat. Precipitation will be closing in on central Arkansas. Maybe they do a little bit, and then we'll kind of track things through upwards to 10 o'clock, and after that, we will have more. Tomorrow morning, Saturday morning, the morning crew is going to be in beginning at 6 o'clock, and they're going to stream for about 4 hours and update you on this winter storm amounts and what the latest radar trends look like and any news that you need to help start your day. So that's kind of the lineup for the rest of the day today. We will look forward to seeing you once again at 4 o'clock this afternoon, and of course at 5, 6, 6:30, and 10 o'clock. Thank you for joining us. Have a great rest of your day. Stay safe out there. Get off those roads. Enjoy the winter storm.